Welcome to the Student Academic Learning Services video on dividing fractions. I highly recommend watching the multiplying fractions video before watching this video, as the method for dividing fractions is very similar to our multiplying fractions method. The only change between the two methods is in step 1, we're going to take the reciprocal of the divisor fraction and change the division sign to multiplication. Step 2, we're going to write out the numerators and denominators and their prime factors and cancel. Step 3, multiply the remaining factors in the numerator together and then multiply the remaining factors in the denominator together. Lastly, step 4, check to make sure we're in lowest terms. Let's take a look at our first division example. Here we have 1 over 2 divided by 2 over 3. And as always, our method is up here in the corner for us to reference. Step 1 is taking the reciprocal of the divisor fraction and change to multiplication. So what the reciprocal is if we have a fraction a over b, the reciprocal of that fraction is just b over a. So let's rewrite our fraction here. We have 1/2. We're going to change the division to multiplication, and the reciprocal of 2 over 3 is 3 over 2. Moving on to our next step, convert to prime factors and cancel. Well, here we can see that everything already is a prime factor, and we can't cancel anything out. So we're just going to rewrite this as 1 times 3 over 2 times 2. And next we're going to multiply. 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 2 is 4. Moving on to our last step, checking to ensure we're in lowest terms. We're going to take the factors of 3, which are 1 and 3, and the factors of 4 is 1, 2, and 4. We only have 1 in common. Dividing by 1 is not going to do anything to our fraction, so we can state that 3 over 4 is in lowest terms. Let's take a look at one more division example. Here we have 16 over 27 divided by 34 over 63, and our first step is going to be taking the reciprocal and changing to multiplication. So we have 16 over 27, we're going to flip that division to a multiplication, and we're only taking the reciprocal of the divisor fraction. Okay, so that's this fraction here, the fraction we're dividing by. So 34 over 63 becomes 63 over 34. And our next step is to convert to prime factors and cancel. So our prime numbers were 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and 17. That should be sufficient. So 16 converts into 2 times 8, which converts to 2 times 4, which converts to 2 times 2. We'll just circle these so we remember them. 63 breaks down into 7 times 9. 9 breaks into 3 times 3. 27 breaks down to 3 times 9, which again breaks into 3 times 3. And 34 breaks into 2 times 17. So let's rewrite this fraction in terms of prime numbers. So we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, that equals 16, times 7 times 3 times 3, and that takes care of the 63. That's our numerator. Our denominator is 3 times 3 times 3, and times 2 times 17. So now our next step is to start canceling, if we can. So we have a 2 on the top and a 2 on the bottom. We have a 3 on the bottom and a 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, 3 on the top. So we're actually left with 2 times 2 times 2 times 7, all over 3 times 17. Now, multiplying this out, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 7 is 56, and the bottom, 3 times 17, is going to be 51. Now we're left with our numerator being greater than our denominator. And if you remember what we did in a previous video, we divided that denominator into the numerator. So 51 will go into 56 once, with 5 left over. So 5 over 51. So now we come down to step 4, and that's just to check and see if we're in lowest terms. And we're going to see if the 5 and the 51, if we can make that any smaller. So factors of 5 are equal to 1 and 5, and the factors of 51 are equal to 1, 3, 17, and 51 itself. So we can see 1's our only common factor in these lists, so we can't make this fraction any smaller. That means 1 whole and 5 over 51 is in lowest terms, so that's going to be our final answer. That concludes our video on dividing fractions. If you have any questions regarding the material covered in this video, I strongly encourage you to come to the SAL Center located in room 204 of the Student Services Building and make an appointment with the appropriate Learning Skills advisor. Thanks for watching.